its maximum extent, the Davinsian glaciation extended south as far as Wolverhampton. During the Younger Dryas, the mountains of Scotland were occupied by glaciers between 12,900 and 11,500 years ago. During the Loch Lomond Stadial, multiple dispersal centres were found in the mountainous areas across the UK, including Snowdonia, Brecon Beacons and the Lake District. In Scotland, the topography of the mountains surrounding Rannoch Moor most probably acted as a snow fence. This allowed the accumulations of large volumes of snow that initially enabled ice build-up in corries and ultimately led to the growth of a substantial ice cap. There were also a number of centres on the Isle of Skye, Mull, Torrendon and the Great Glens. These locations became interconnected through the flow of outlet glaciers. Due to the climatic conditions and increased precipitation, the ice cap was at its thickest relatively early in the stadial. These ice caps thinned sufficiently enough to expose the summits of some of the higher mountains and deposit erratics. Valve sequencing at Loch Arbour suggests some large catchment outlet glaciers may not have achieved their maximal extent until much later. One possible reason for this is the unique context of the landscape at Loch Arbour, as glaciers advanced into reverse gradients and deep water. The maximum altitude of the Loch Lomond ice cap is still strongly debated. Mapping of the altitudinal variation in valley characteristics and weathering contrasts marks the break point between glacially abraded rock surfaces and frost-shattered bedrock above. These periglacial trim lines were interpreted that the ice surface of the main ice mass was at least 800 metres above sea level in central areas, and was 400 to 500 metres thick. Rannoch Moor, including its surrounding mountains, is widely considered to have been one of the most extensive and probably most important ice accumulation and dispersal centres of the Loch Lomond Stadial. Landscapes dominated by hummocky moraines are common in the Scottish Highlands. Rannoch Moor, one of the focal points of ice accumulations during the Loch Lomond Stadial, is one example. Debate on whether ice stagnated or actively retreated at ice margins on Rannoch Moor is ongoing. Sissons has proposed the long-accepted theory that ice stagnation was an inevitable product of being the outlet for numerous mountain glaciers. More recently, Wilson 2005 has reiterated this, but emphasised that active deglaciation dominated regionally. More recent research has proposed glacial thrusting at the polythermal ice margin form the Hummocky Moraine at Rannoch Moor under actively deglaciating conditions. Further sediment analysis of transverse landforms and the hummocks themselves is required to fully test this hypothesis. Two of the most interesting areas that supported ice dam lakes during the Loch Lomond readvance are the Loch Arbour and Upper Glenmoriston regions. Studied by the 19th century pioneers of glaciology, they contain both striking and subtle evidence of ice dam lakes. At Glen Doe, unequivocal evidence of ancient ice dam lakes exists. The valley floor incorporates subaqueously deposited material, while rising sequence lake shorelines are numerous, culminating at 406 metres above sea level. Numerous shorelines indicate periodic drainage and multiple outburst floods. As can be seen, evidence for significant floods is documented extensively in the contemporary landscape. The exhibition of water-washed bedrock is amongst the best examples in the British Isles. To the southwest of Glenmoriston is Loch Arbour, home to Glens Gloy, Roy and Speen. Glenroy is the site of the infamous parallel roads. During the Loch Lomond readvance, ice propagated from Speen Glacier eastwards from Speen Bridge, impounding a lake at 260 metres in Glens Speen and Roy. This was regulated by a 260 metre col at the head of Glen Speen. Further advance of the Speen Glacier into the mouth of Glen Roy caused separate proglacial lake to form at 325 metres elevation, rising to 350 metres under a later advance. Presented here are findings adapted from Palmer et al. 2009. Annual sedimentary deposits called varves from 3 sites have been sequenced and analysed to give high-resolution accounts of glacial and fluvial regimes in Glen Roy. The Loch Arbour Master Varve collection, correlated with the GRIP ice core records, indicate lake formation occurred at 12,165 years ago. Varve records suggest the lake existed at various depths for a minimum of 515 years. This would have coincided with the onset of the Holocene 11,650 years ago. The 260-metre level lake, this immense jocklut marked the end of ice dam lakes in Glenroy during the Loch Lomond Stadial.